Season's greetings to all our viewers all over the world. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the show. It promises to be exciting as always. I'm here, me, Adebaya. Well, tonight on the show, we will be talking about the English Premier League. We'll be looking at the things happening in the world of sports as we continue to wind down the clock as we go into 2025. We'll also talk about what's happening here on the domestic scene, especially with the Nigeria Premier Football League. That's the outlook of the show tonight. Promises to be exciting. My colleague, Austin Konakwan, is suited and ready as we take you along on this ride.
What a great to you. Of course, everyone joining us on the show tonight. Action-packed world of sports. And I'm pumped up to talk about everything happening, starting with what's going on right here in England, the Premier League. Brentford is busy. Arsenal will host Ipswich in about 3 minutes. They should be filing out. The Gunners need to win that one. If they do, they'll jump to second on the table, and that'll be very good for Mikel Arteta and his team's campaign to contest for the league title. Also, Matchday 19 of the Nigeria Premier Football League. What a story. Matchday 19 already. And the major guys are still proving that, yes, they can compete for the league title. I'm talking about Remo Stars, Rivers United, and Shooting Stars somehow found their way into that mix. So it's going to be exciting and competitive as it has always been. So, Yemi, we will be doing this tonight, and I know that you cannot wait for 2025 to come. We already talked about it on the show last night, rolled out our bucket list for the year for sports in Nigeria. I cannot wait for us to start putting words into action.
Yes, I cannot wait. And of course, one thing that I so very big is the Chan Eagles in action tomorrow. Of course, the hope is that they will be able to pick the ticket as they bid to qualify for the African Nations Championship. And so, of course, before we go into all of that, we have with us tonight on the show, he's joined us virtually, Joseph Atewe joins us now. Joseph, greetings to you. Thanks for finding time to be with us on the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Yemi. Thank you, Austin. I mean, it feels great anytime, speaking to you guys. And I'm happy to be on part of this show this evening. Let's talk sports.
All right, so let's talk sports. Let's move swiftly into what we have today. Let's talk about the African Nations Championship. A lot of us expected that if the Eagles B go to Ghana and don't lose, they have a good chance to qualify for the African Nations Championship. And they did just that. So let's look at the situation as it is ahead of the next round of matches. I'll just turn to the screen and tomorrow's fixtures, the one that is very important to a lot of Nigerians, is what you have on your screen. Ghana and Nigeria, of course, the first leg ended goalless, the reverse to be played in Nigeria with, of course, Nigeria having a chance to qualify. Rwanda takes on South Sudan. It's 2-3 on aggregate. South Sudan having the edge there. Senegal and Liberia, first leg ended 1-1, and so it is 1-1 on aggregate. Cameroon and the Central African Republic, Cameroon with 1 foot planted in the tournament, having a 1-goal advantage. Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire, of course, the Ivorians, Cup of Nations champions, leading 2-0 on aggregate. A lot can still happen in that game. Zambia and Mozambique, the Zambians from the first leg, lead 3-0. DR Congo and Chad is 1-1 on aggregate. We'll see what happens with that. Well, a lot of places up for grabs. Then you have Guinea-Bissau and Guinea. Of course, Guinea leading on aggregate. So these is what it looks like with the fixtures for tomorrow. All of these matches will be played tomorrow. At the end of tomorrow, we will know, hopefully, our own Super Eagles B. Well, this is Super Eagles anyway. Will be able to pick their spot for the championship. The last time we were there was 2018, thereabout. So hopefully it will be a good outing for the boys as they pick the ticket. Also, let me just quickly come to you. What has been different? Because in the last 2-3 editions, we'll get to this stage and we'll have ruined it from the first leg. We'll come home and we'll try to salvage, and it's just beyond redemption.
And check it here. I mean, those times was when we weren't doing so well with the league, or we're still struggling with the abridged version. And all of those things, will definitely affect performance. I've been following the league. I know almost all the players being called up for this CHAN qualifiers, and I can tell you it's loaded with qualities. And they showed it in that first leg in Accra. They were compact in midfield. They were assisting themselves. There was good positional play. Oh my gracious goodness. Niger Tornadoes Papa Daniel showed us his quality with that rocket of a shot that struck the woodwork. If that had gone in, it would have even been my postcast award already for next year. I like the fact that they are playing as a team. They understand the objective, the mission of this campaign. And I like Coach Daniel and Coach Fidelis Ilechukwu. They speak development. They show that it is what you sow, you will reap. Both coaches are doing so well with their respective clubs. And being part of this CHAN setup is good experience for them also. I like the fact that the midfielders are very disciplined and tactical individuals. The defenders are also people who are not, free to errors. The forward power packed. I want them to play offensive football tomorrow. But respect your opponents, knowing that this is a very crucial encounter, and at 0-0, it can go anywhere. But if it's to speak about the quality and why we are not seeing what we used to see back in the day, I'll tell you why. We've got quality in the team. The league is stable, and you can tell, you can score some of the areas where we're doing so well. All of these things, it affects performance, and that's what we're seeing with the CHAN Eagles. So let's wish them all the best. I know they know that they need to win tomorrow against Ghana. So go out there, no pressure, enjoy yourself, pick that ticket, go to the CHAN and give the country a good representation.
All right. Just let's get your thoughts. Austin said something which is quite important. A goalless draw is like walking on thin ice. It could crack. It could go anyway.
Well, of course, if you notice that the last two editions have been correct, and the reason why we've not been at the CHAN competition for a very long time is this same Ghana. They have a way of defeating Nigeria. You recall that, the World Cup in Qatar, the national team, now these are the Black Galaxies, but the Black Stars, stopped. There's always a rivalry between Nigeria and Ghana. We must understand something, that the way Guru still stands when it comes to this competition. Austin made some, he gave a good analysis about that. Talking about the midfielders, how compactable, they were at the midfield, the defense line looking good, was looking sharp. But my problem here is that coming down to Uyo, these guys, you heard what the coach said. He talked about their formation, how they're going to come to Nigeria to get the job done. We need to be careful. Because if they play out a 1-0 draw, they have done. Don't forget, I spoke about the way go rule here. So there's so much to look out for in this one. But coming back to the camp of the Nigerians, one thing I like was that the coach did not give them a Christmas break. Talked about how important this competition is. Secondly, it might sound funny, but Rabi Ali, of course, he gave birth. His wife gave birth to a bouncing baby girl, baby boy rather. And of course, we know that might spoil him because he's been speaking to the media lately. But as I said, I have my worries here. The Ghanaian national team do not treat them with kids' love, because prior to the first leg, they had some interesting friendlies they played some top teams, but what did we have in Nigeria? We had we had academies. We're playing academies there, but you might say that won't count. But then I don't know why I have my worries playing Ghana in Uyo tomorrow. We wish the guys all the best. The CHAN Eagles, they know and understand the importance of playing at the CHAN competition, which is a competition, for players playing their trade in Africa. And I hope they give their best. But as I said earlier, I have my worries for this team.
You should. Any one of us is Ghana, so we should. All right, let me yield to Austin. Are there other fixtures? Is win or bust for most of the teams? You don't get it right tomorrow, you're not going to be at a chance. So which of the fixtures do you think we should watch out for? We're likely going to beat some of these teams anyway. But which of the other fixtures do you think we might be onto something here?
The Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire. Burkina Faso, they're one team that they've shown that they are doing more than enough for grassroots, for league football, for competing at the CHAN, even at the senior level. And seeing them losing that first leg to Cote d'Ivoire makes this second leg one that we should really look forward to. I think the Guinea fixture also, I like the fact that it's giving us an opportunity to see football, league football, as we haven't seen it in West Africa. You know, when you talk about football on the continent, particularly the CAF Confederation Cup and the CAF Champions League, that's where we see the big teams in North Africa, in South Africa. This is an opportunity for us to see what countries in West Africa are doing to develop their league football that can translate into national team development. I remember there was a time, I think when the CHAN just started, we said it that it's a reflection of the country's football. And you begin to agree, because when you put us side by side with the North Africans and the South Africans, you could tell that it is the homework that they've done with their league that has given them a system, an identity, a style to their play. So I think, yeah, that Burkina Faso Cote d'Ivoire fixture will definitely get us talking, because I know the Burkina Faso B side will come all out, they'll push, they like the CHAN, and I'm sure they would want to be there and also see what Guinea can do. And definitely, in all of these things, my eyes are so fixed on what the Super Eagles team B can do, you know, because this is a team that I believe in so much. I understand the cynicism from Joseph when it's Nigeria, Ghana, and even if it's a game of Ludo, it's going to be all out. It's highly competitive, and they've already stopped us at the Waffle B with the girls. Ghana has failed to qualify for the AFCON. So they are wounded lions who just want to go out there and see how they can cause confusion in the midst of their own confusion. But I don't think it's going to happen. The Super Eagles team B will give us something to talk about when we come back in the new year.
Yeah, I think they understand the task. They know what they're up against. All right, let's leave that for now. Hopefully when next we come on the show, we should be talking about the Team B, Super Eagles Team B, picking a ticket to the next edition of the CHAN. All right, before we talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League, let's just quickly, of course, this season, a lot of winding down, a lot of relaxation because of the season. And of course, we've been able to catch up with Super Eagles midfielder Wilfred Ndidi, who's been speaking on a whole lot of issues, his injury, talks about Nigeria's chances of qualifying for the World Cup, and a whole lot more. So let's just quickly listen to the Leicester City midfielder, and then of course we'll come back to talk on some of the issues raised.
First things first, I feel like we didn't start well, but that's gone. You know, it's past. We can't dwell on what we. So because we'll be judged by what we do going forward. So now I feel like, yeah, we did wrongly when we didn't do well starting up. But I feel like the good thing about it is the confidence from the AFCON qualifiers is still there. So it actually builds up to us going for the World Cup. Because at this moment we know is a game where we can't lose just one game, because if we lose one, we don't know. But in our head we feel like the confidence from qualifying from the AFCON will give us more opportunity and more confidence going for the games in the World Cup. In the World Cup qualifier. So the main focus now is when we in our teams we still communicate, because we know World Cup, if some players miss it this time, you can get it the next time. You know, this is an opportunity for some players to get it, and then for young players to experience it, because even young players, you're not guaranteed the next one. So this one is in our hands to actually get. So this is what we're discussing, and this is what we talk about in the group and every time. So I feel like we should just relax and see what comes up. We've got the quality, we've got the mindset. Yeah, sometimes games don't go well, but the mindset about like the team, the players we have now, and the discussion we've been having, it's not about this is not club football. This is World Cup. Every player wants to go to World Cup. So I feel like we're in for it. We're not worried. Our only worry is not losing again so this is not just about, this is about everything. It's not just about tactics. Tactics is good, is there, but it's about the individual and collective desire to go for the World Cup.
All right, Wilfred Ndidi, speaking about, of course, the chances of the Super Eagles picking a ticket to the World Cup. And he seems to understand how difficult of a task that is. I mean, Joseph, you listen to him. I don't know what your take is. One of the things he said, and I'm happy he's saying that, look, they can't even afford to lose a game. Is that serious?
Well, of course, it's that serious. And, I feel like they put themselves in this difficult situation because if you look at some of the countries that we've been grouped with, these are cricket-playing nations. Rwanda is one of them. These are countries that Nigeria should be beating comfortably. As a matter of fact, to have qualified with 2 or 3 games to spare. But what it means right now, and which I agree with him, he talked about winning every single game. What it means right now is that we have to win every single game and hope our opponents, drop at least a point here and there, which is very difficult. If you look at the Super Eagles record, I mean, this year alone, away matches, I think they won 1 or 2, not too sure here about the start, but I'm very sure we didn't win up to 3 away from home. Very disappointing that we had to lose to Rwanda. The final game of the qualifiers for the African Cup of Nations, Benin Republic. Imagine playing out the 1-0 draw with the caliber of players we have. And let's remind our viewers that the Super Eagles team, in estimate, is like one of the biggest in Africa, if not the biggest. I mean, you should be making a statement. Now, this will prove to Nigerians or redeem that love once again from a large percentage of the fans that if these guys will go and win every single game, which I doubt, except something happens, but they've got the quality, no doubt. Do they have the coach? Well, time will tell. But then I agree with Wilfred and they have to win every single game because Nigerians can afford to watch the World Cup again on their screens. We're still trying, to take away the pain of not being in Qatar, losing at the expense of Ghana. We don't want that again. But now they have a horrendous start in winning every single game. Can they? It depends on the players because they're that good.
All right, a quick one, Joseph. Is it totally in our hands? Will winning our games be enough? Because I look at the stats, I look at the table. We probably might need a few of these countries to also have the misfortune of dropping points. So the question is, do you think us winning our games will be enough?
Well, as I said, I mean, if you listened, I talked about, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, I talked about the other teams. We have to win every single game. In fact, winning the whole games doesn't mean you've qualified. But what it will do, if you do your maths, and of course, look at the table, if we win every single game, don't forget the first team goes automatically, second will go through playoffs. So what we've guaranteed ourselves is the playoff ticket. But I do not think that is what we want at this point. We want to qualify automatically because going through the playoffs is a different ball game entirely. So what it means is that we have to win every single game, and hope that the South Africa will draw Benin or Benin will draw Rwanda. So there's a lot of calculations that have to go down here. But first, a difficult task, we have to win every game because, losing, like I said earlier, to cricket nations, cricket-playing nations, is totally unfair to sport lovers in Nigeria.
Okay, Austin is already laughing. He has
I know. And, look, I like what Wilfred Ndidi said, particularly the way he landed. He said it's individual and collective efforts. First thing first, as an individual player of the Super Eagles, you need to tell yourself you need to bring 100% when the World Cup qualifiers, come again in March. And then they play as a team. Yeah, I mean, I think we shouldn't bother with those other teams. We should just focus on winning our remaining matches. We have played 4, drawn 3 and lost 1. And we've just gotten 4 points from 4 matches, which is very disappointing. Now, if you take a look at that Group C table, you can see how tight it is with Rwanda on 7 points, South Africa on 7 points, and Benin Republic on 7 points. So it makes it so difficult. What am I saying? 3 points we have. We have 3 points from 4 matches. So if we have about 6 more games to go, you just need to win. Because I'm so confident either South Africa or Benin Republic will cancel themselves. One of them might even lose to Zimbabwe. So just face your front and be winning your game. Super Eagles are coming out. We put ourselves in this situation. So let's just go out there and win. So that at the end of the day, we can even say, okay, they ended it properly.
Also, let me bust your bubble quickly before we go on a break. You think Nigeria will go to South Africa and get a win? You're that confident?
Yeah, I mean, 4 years ago, you won't ask this question.
Sure.
You won't, Things just change because, as I said, we decided to abandon the system that produces, talent for us in the country, which is the league. And administration also was a proper mess. But this is South Africa. I mean, in the streets of football in Nigeria, we took out South Africa our wives, didn't we? We see South Africa, we beat them. But it's not happening again because they stayed focused, they remodeled, they redefined their football, they invested into it, and now they're seeing results. Let's go on this quick break. When we come back, we'll stay with this conversation and get into Matchday 19 of the Nigeria Premier Football League. Don't go anywhere. Stay. Welcome back, Sports Tonight on Channels Television. We're jumping on that conversation. Super Eagles midfielder Wilfred Ndidi has come out clearly to say, look, qualifying for the World Cup is important because players want to feature at the World Cup. Ndidi also said that it's an individual and collective responsibility. I like that so much, Yemi, because he has come to realize that they were the ones who put themselves in this situation. And you asked a very important question, and I wouldn't blame you for asking that question. Am I confident we can beat South Africa? Yemi, the man who is on the floor fears no fall. Right now, the Super Eagles, they're in a very embarrassing position on that Group C table to qualify for the World Cup. So now they need to just go out there and play football with anger, with results in their head. And look, they need to go out there, beat all of these guys silly. There's a way you beat South Africa, they will go and lose to Lesotho. Because we couldn't beat Lesotho. We cannot play 4 matches to qualify for the World Cup, and we will draw 3 and lose 1. And no win whatsoever after 4 matches. So that's enough reason for us to go to South Africa, beat Benin Republic, anywhere we see them. If they want to play the game over 3 legs, beat them over 3 legs to prove a point that you gave this a bad start, so you want to give it a grand finish.
Okay. Let me allow Joseph have the last say. Joseph, on the evidence of what you've seen, because that's the only thing you have to go by. That's the only thing you can make your analysis on. On the evidence of what you've seen, some people say we've turned the corner with, and Wilfred alluded to that as well, with the way we qualify for the Nations Cup. So on the evidence of all of that, do you think we've turned the corner and we can put previous bad performances behind us and expect these guys to go win 6 games on the stretch?
As a matter of fact, the last time we won the African Cup of Nations was in 2013, and we won that title in South Africa, if I'm correct. And, like Austin said, this is a country we're beating over and over and over and taught them a lesson. But things have changed. I'll take you back. Morocco, remember the 2008, 2010 Nations Cup? It was Algeria we played. Morocco were nowhere to be found. But what did they do? They did a 10-year plan, which is paying off. Morocco, the male and female team, is no news that they are the first African Cup of country to get to the semifinals of the FIFA World Cup, which no African country has done. So what am I saying? Proper planning. The South Africans have totally changed football. Now look at what's the name right now? The Super Falcons. They won the title. Is it 7 or 8 times in a row before the South Africans, the Cameroonians started coming in? And look at South Africa right now, head to head with the girls. These girls, anytime, any day, you cannot beat your chest. The Falcons will defeat the South Africans. The same thing applies to the men. You watch the African Cup of Nations. We were live in Cote d'Ivoire, and some of the things we saw the South Africans prepare for ahead of that game, which we won on penalties, was tackling and preparing for the Nigerians man by man. Anytime, any day, just like the Ghanaians, the South Africans take every of those games seriously. So going there will be difficult because one of the problems we have is that the individual brilliance sometimes don't win you football. Individual brilliance, yes, we have the players, we have the stars, but when last have we played as a unit? When have we ever played as a team? Which is our biggest problem. That is why you say Lukman score goals for Atalanta, Boniface for Leverkusen. Bring them together. Do they give you the results that you want? On a normal day rather, you expect Nigeria to have won their 4th African Cup of Nations because that's we try. I do not like to take that home because we do not play as a team. If they can get that right, if the coach Augustine Govon can get that right, trust me. I mean, South Africa should be no match for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, but unfortunately, we have failed to play as a unit, at least for the past 9 years.
All right, we leave it at that. So let's move on to the Nigeria Premier Football League. I'll just go across the screen to show you matches to be played today, and of course tomorrow and on Sunday. Let me just quickly go across. We talk about Joseph, Austin, and my humble self will give you our thoughts on these matches. Tomorrow, Bayelsa United will play against Abia Warriors. Promises to be an exciting encounter. Then on Sunday, where most of the matches will be played, Matchday 19, we're at the halfway stage now. Then you have El Kanemi Warriors up against Kano Pillars. Niger Tornadoes will take on Rangers International. Ikorodu City will take on Sunshine Stars. Of course, in the Southwest Derby, Katsina United will take on Nasarawa United. Lobby Stars up against the Naze Millionaires, that's Heartland. Rebel Stars will take on Aqua United. Then, of course, Shooting Stars will take on Kwara United. These are the matches, of course, that will be played over the weekend. All right, let me yield to Austin quickly. Then, of course, we also have the one on Monday, Rivers United and Plateau United. Interesting matches to look forward to. Austin, which one of these fixtures jump at you easily? I would say Rivers United, Plateau United, but I'm not a mind reader, so which one jumps at you?
I like to see Shooting Stars, Kwara United. Shooting Stars, what a story. 4 straight wins. Coach Gbenga Ogumbote's team, they're on fire. They're playing beautiful football. Go back and watch that goal they scored in Enugu. They touched the ball about 17 times before Okowembutin scored the goal. That's a team that they are beginning to understand themselves. They are playing smooth football, you know. They are third on the log now. I think they have 30 points. Rivers United and Remo Stars have 33 each, but because of goals for Remo Stars, they're on top of the table. Why am I looking forward to seeing what Shooting Stars can do to Kwara United? It's a very tricky tie for them because, as you know, Kwara United are a very decent side. They play offensive football, and with the momentum they have from winning their last game, they might just want to, see if they can poke the bear. They did so well in Port Harcourt against Rivers United. Lost it when they blinked. That game ended 2-1. They scored a very lovely goal. In fact, they scored first. Akim Akoni scored first in Port Harcourt on Matchday 16. Matchday 17. They won their last game on Matchday 18. Now Matchday 19. They have a strong test in Shooting Stars. What can they do? I would like to see, how that one will end. Rivers United, Plateau United. Rivers United, they are doing what a team that wants to win the league title should be doing. They win at home, they go away, they pick a point. Before you beat Rivers United on the road, it's very difficult. I saw what they did to Nasarawa United. Like never before, Nasarawa United, they need a point. But Rivers United somehow know how to play that offensive football, push you. They won that penalty, converted it, and it ended 1-1. So they would want to, consolidate, put pressure on Remo Stars. Remo Stars will be taking on Aqua United in Ikene. Now, Remo Stars, they play very good football in Ikene. But if you look at the league table, if there's any team now that you don't want to play, it is those guys who are fighting, relegation. So Aqua United will be going all out to see what they can do in Ikene. Remo Stars on Matchday 18. Getting the job done over Bayelsa United 2-0. Aqua United, they had to push endurance, converted the first penalty. They needed to win against Heartland, and they did just that. Then goalkeeper came out with a rash tackle. Referee pointed to the spot, clear penalty. Endurance, stepped up to it, and they scored to give the Promise Keepers, I think, only their 4th or 5th win of the season. They are still within the relegation, zone, but this is the sort of win you need when you're going to play Remo Stars. Then Chijoke Alekwe with a beautiful header to seal it for the Promise Keepers. So Remo Stars is a big test for Aqua United. Another important game is Niger Tornadoes versus Rangers. Niger Tornadoes, they are very, very good in Mina. They're a very good side. And they fought against Kano Pillars on Matchday 18. They pushed. It took a late goal from Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa to break them. That game was going to end 1-1. So Niger Tornadoes, let's see what they can do. But Rangers, they have also shown that when they go away, they can do something. They proved it when they went to Katsina United. But now they are broken because of what Shooting Stars, did to them. But Joseph, I saw you nodding for that fixture, Shooting Stars versus Kwara United. I'm sure you're looking forward to that also.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that game. Don't forget Osun and Oyo share the same boundaries. So because you don't have clubs in Osun State, the NPFL, they support, and I see the massive support Shooting Stars get anytime they're playing. But one thing I want to say is that do not forget what Benga Ogumbote, what he said. He said, see, he was asked by journalists, are you now in the title race? Because they're third on the log. He said, what I want to do is qualify this team to the continent. And we also asked, after the game, are they in line with what you have, your project? He said they're in line. And you saw what they did, Austin. You saw what they did away from home. You know how difficult it is going away from home in the Nigerian Premier League to get not a point, but they got the maximum 3 points, which fired them to third position on the log. These guys, they're playing good football as we speak, but then they say again, it's still young in the NPFL. We'll cross our fingers and wait to see what happens. But Shooting Stars, honestly, are playing good football, and they keep this momentum. Just like what the coach of Chelsea is saying, Enzo Maresca, we're not tied to contenders, we're not these playing the mind game. That is what Benga Ogumbote is doing here.
I see. Yemi might not say anything, but Yemi, I know that you love what's going on with Shooting Stars. Tell me, confess.
Yeah, I have to. I do. I tend to be silent about Shooting Stars, but honestly, I grew up in a house where Shooting Stars was dearly loved, so somehow I'm a silent supporter. All right, let's move on to the English Premier League. And of course, Joseph talked about a manager who is saying, we are not title contenders and all that. Okay, all right, let me just quickly go across now. Take a look at some results if we have them. All right, so these are Sunday's fixtures. We'll talk about what's happening as we speak. Later on, Austin is furiously refreshing his tab to get us those results. Brighton and Brentford playing, Arsenal also in action. But these matches will be played on Sunday is a flurry. A lot of matches coming on thick and fast. On Sunday, Leicester City will take on Manchester City, Crystal Palace up against Southampton, Everton up against Nottingham, Fulham up against Bournemouth, Tottenham up against Wolverhampton Wanderers. West Ham will take on league leaders Liverpool. All these matches will be played on Sunday. Then you also have on Monday, Aston Villa will take on Brighton, Ipswich Town will take on Chelsea, Manchester United will take on of course, Newcastle United. There's a mutual friend. Anytime fixtures like this come up, we'll say there's only one United. I don't know if that mutual friend will still be saying all of this. All right, also let me yield to you. What is happening in those games? And I'm very sure you would want us to listen to the Liverpool manager. He's been speaking after some of the matches his team played.
Live results going on in the English Premier League. Brighton 0, Brentford 0. That game, it's having a break now, half time. But Brighton bossing the game 100%. They've enjoyed 59% of the possession to Brentford's 41. Brighton, they've had 6 shots on target, but somehow they haven't gotten the goal. But they are pushing and ensuring that they do just that when the second half comes. The game between Arsenal and Ipswich, 21 minutes already played. The Gunners still looking for the first goal. It's still goalless. Ipswich doing just enough to break the counter-attacking play of Arsenal and making sure that they are tight in midfield. But Arsenal also losing possessional play every now and then. And then the other guys trying to get into proper position to see if they can break, this Ipswich team. But it's looking like a game that Arsenal needs to win. And if they do, they will consolidate their position on the league table. And that's why you would understand why the slot is saying, look, it's too early to give us the title because there's so much going on. I tell you, if you look at the table, it's just 1 defeat and 1 draw, and Liverpool will start asking questions. Let's listen to Slot on the show tonight.
I think if you're in this game for a long time, like these players are and I am as well, then 20 games before the end you don't look at it the way so many challenges are still ahead of you. I think it was 2 months ago that we were 1 point behind City, and look what has happened there in terms of injuries, and then you have a bit of bad luck and you had a suspension, and this can happen to any team, and so it's far too early to already be celebrating, but it is of course nice for us to be the team who we are, so we know we are able to do this. But you've been at all these games like me, and I don't think there was any easy win for us during all these games. It could have been an easy win against Tottenham, but then we conceded 2 and it was 5-3, and I was still like, okay. I was quite happy with us scoring the 6th goal. So that tells you how difficult it is to win if all your players are available, let alone if somewhere during the season you pick up some injuries or suspensions, and that's why we just have to take it one game at a time.
I totally agree with Arne Slot. One game at a time. Quick update is now Arsenal 1, Ipswich 0. Lovely cross from Leandro Trossard, and Kai Havertz was there to just tap it into the net. So that's it. Joseph, you listen to Arne Slot. I think he's correct. He said if you've been in this game of football long enough, you cannot just be in this position now and conclude that you're going to win the league.
Well, I agree with him totally. And of course, don't forget that they also have other competitions they're playing. And for Ancelotti, if you listen to his interview when he got the job at Liverpool, he said, I want to bring in titles to this club. Now they have the Champions League. Well, with what we're having with other clubs not performing well, they're one of the favorites, the English Premier League. But he spoke about the league, Austin, if you listened. And, you look at what you just said. Arsenal's just scored. I mean, they're second as we speak. 1 loss, 1 draw. It's all over for Liverpool. And they start asking questions again. So he's been careful here. And that is what he's doing. He's trying to, it's each game as it comes. He wants to tackle every game as it comes. And do they have the players? Yes, they do. But I believe that whoever win the league will have to reinforce in January. We'll have to bring in players. I mean, you see what is happening to Arsenal. Yes, they're playing Ipswich, but they have bigger fixtures from January. So they have somebody, to replace Bukayo Saka pending when he returns in late February in that one. For Ancelotti is totally correct. And it just speaks volume about him as an intelligent coach. And of course, he wants his players to be calm and understands the terrain of the game.
No Saka, no problem for Arsenal, but Arne Slot and Liverpool, Yemi, we can't deny that for now they've got the momentum. They are winning, they are playing well as a team, and even scoring late goals.
Yeah, I agree. Some might say, though, that they've not really seen a big test. Tests can come in form, just like Joseph said, injuries can come in form of suspensions, or a mix of all.
Or players' contract renewal.
Or cluster of big games, but they've done well so far. They've done well, so we'll see what happens, and there are 4 competitions. But let's talk about a manager who has not done well. Some might argue it's not his fault, but he hasn't done well. Ruben Amorim, he's been talking. He understands the enormity of the task, and he also knows you're still a manager if you're winning games. If you're not, you might be shown the exit door. Let's listen to Ruben Amorim speaking about his situation, Manchester United's situation ahead of the Newcastle game.
We have to work on a lot of things in our club, inside the pitch, outside the pitch. So let's focus on each game, each time. Use every minute of training and game to improve the team. I have no idea. No idea. I just have to use, instead of me trying to understand how much time we will take, just day by day, improving, trying to see the videos, using every minute of training, and try to win some points, because it's really important in this moment. They need time to train. They are changing completely the way of playing. It's really hard on them. It's really hard on the staff also to pass all the information. And then when you don't have results, it's even harder for them to believe. So we have to continue. We already knew that is a tough moment, and we have to focus on the next game.
All right, you have to focus on next game. Joseph, as quickly as you can, how much time do you think Ruben Amorim will need? Let's forget about contracts. It doesn't take a minute before contracts are torn and shredded. So how much time do you think he has? Because if this losing streak continues, there will be problems.
If you bring in a Jose Mourinho to Manchester United today, he wouldn't do nothing. Because I feel like the problem with Manchester United is that the board has to be patient. The fans needs to be patient. There are a lot of players at Manchester United that they do not deserve to be at that club. Honestly, a lot of players that Manchester United, and one will wonder, is this the same Manchester United that was coached by Alex Ferguson? The club that you dare not to play, most especially at Old Trafford, is the same club with Wolves. It's beating 2-0, and they're telling you it's just a normal thing. It's quite unfortunate to every Manchester United fans that they have to go through this. But for anything to work, even in January, if United bring in quality players, it will change nothing. Probably what you get is United maybe gets a UEFA Europa Conference League ticket. But, making a statement like a club like Manchester United, not this season, not next season, give them 3 years. Let this man remain, because, it's a coach that is ready to work. They have time. They have to be patient. If they're not patient enough, if the sack Ruben Amorim is still going to be the same old story. So patience, I feel like, will keep Manchester United going and put them where they deserve.
Okay. Before I let you go, let me ask you this. How far do you think Manchester United, we don't know what they're going to do in January, but, what do you guess could be the highest level United can go this season?
Well, like you asked, in 2015, I remember it was Austin who asked who was going to win the Nations Cup, and against all odds, I said Cameroon. Let me just tell you that Manchester United would finish 10th. I think that's the best they would, 10th position, and Arsenal will go on to win the league.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it at that. Joseph Atewo, I want to thank you for your time on the show tonight. And, of course, we'll bring you back. If it does happen that way, then we'll name you our octopus, our own octopus.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This one is not octopus, Joseph. This is tortoise, Joseph. But let's see. You never know. But I'm sure. That tickled you a bit. You said Arsenal can win the league, and that tickled you. But on Ruben Amorim and Manchester United, I listened to Cristiano Ronaldo, and he said he's backing Amorim to do well in Manchester United, as he can, lower the storm. I don't know how he's going to do it. It's evident now that Erik ten Hag wasn't the problem. It's still that culture Cristiano Ronaldo talked about, that Erik ten Hag also talked about, that they told him to change. I think there's also a bit of character issue in there. Liverpool seems to be interested in Marcus Rashford. That's some of the rumors we're hearing here. I think if the coach decides to now get players who play for him, who help him push the philosophy of the club, then maybe Manchester United might just bounce back. But they have a tough one against Newcastle, because the captain, Bruno Fernandes, will be missing due to suspension, and the other players are just here and there. So the struggle continues for Manchester United. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakwana. By the time we're back next week, it will be 2025. So let me have the opportunity to wish you a blissful sporting new year. That's it. In everything you do, remember to keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, it's a wrap here in Lagos as well. Before we go, of course, we're going to be leaving you with highlights from the United Cup. We bid you to enjoy the rest of your day. You see us again next week. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.